What the hell is even that?
I'm sure many of you and your pet squirrel would have seen videos after videos after videos of people talking about the bad animation of season 2 of Blue Lock. But never forget that once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, Uzumaki was the one that was recently talked about concerning bad animation. And of course, that was highly anticipated as well. But there was another highly anticipated, according to the type of groups you're talking to, that also was season 2 was looked forward to, but the animation is very subpar. And what we are talking about is Tower of God as well. Now, of course, Blue Lock is basically the one that is on everybody's minds because of the popularity of season 1, and many persons was looking forward to season 2. But these three anime and their subpar animation helps us to appreciate that the anime industry definitely needs to evolve and to get better, because you can see the trend that we are seeing with these three anime is the problem of mismanagement.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about mismanagement, that could be manifested in a variety of ways. So, for example, many of you may have heard, or probably the few of you may not have heard, of the situation that happened where an animator on Twitter mentioned the reason why season 2 was bad. This was an animator who worked on a few episodes of season 2 of Blue Lock. Now, probably many of you, as I mentioned before, would have heard about this already, but just to give you just a small part as a reminder of what the person said. These problems, just like in Jujutsu Kaisen in the past, or in the vast majority of animes, notice the point, are a result of the production committee of certain animes that take projects simply thinking about the money and not the condition of its workers. And it's because of this that I didn't work on any other episode of Blue Lock. Once I finished working on the second episode, I decided to get out, and just like I thought, the final result ended up being a disaster. This made me feel like this is a job that I am not proud to upload. And while making this particular video, I couldn't help but remember a particular anime. I won't mention the name as it, but probably if you want to, you could guess in the comments what I'm talking about. And it came out in 2023. And that anime could have been massively popular, but it just keep getting hit with delays after delays. And then the final 3 episodes of that anime was delayed for some months later on in the year. But we will talk about that in just a few minutes. But as we see with the Blue Lock animator, how he basically helped us to appreciate how sometimes production companies could be too focused on profits rather than a good quality of a show. And the reality is Blue Lock season 2 animation suffered because of it. But moving on to the Theuzamaki Situation, we see the episode 1 was top quality animation, and then for some reason the last 3 episodes was toilet bowl quality. So again, looking back at what one of the individuals who, you could say in his comment, he did not want to snitch on anybody in particular, but you could see that there was some kind of drama that was going on behind the scenes that led to the poor quality of episodes in episode 2, 3, and 4. So just a reminder of what he said. And by the way, the one making these comments is Jason DeMarco, the person behind Adult Swim. He says, "It's fine. We knew this would happen. I can't talk about what went down, but we were screwed over, and the options were A, not finish and air nothing and call it a loss, B, just finish and air episode 1 and leave it incomplete, or C, run all 4, warts and all. Out of respect for the hard work, we chose C." DeMarco wrote in the first of a series of posts, "After waiting so long, it makes sense people would be mad. Unfortunately, I can't tell them who to blame it on, but someone is definitely at fault here. And we all just had to do our best when things imploded. Maybe others would have made different choices. We did the best we could with what we had."
Oh, no.
Now, did you recall what we are talking about earlier about a particular anime that could have been popular in 2023, but because of delays, after delays, its hype was killed. We are talking about basically Zom 100. That faced a lot of production issues, and I remember one person bringing out the point that when the trailer was released, we realized that most of the scenes that were shown was from episode 1. Nothing from later episodes was shown, and that was kind of a hint of what was going on behind the scenes. And when you do the research on it, that was really the issue. Of course, because of the production delays, there was also broadcast conflicts with Japan as well. So that anime could have been you could say the number one anime of 2023, but because of what happened, the hype was killed. And that is why we want to hopefully see some form of improvement in the anime industry when it comes to managing what goes on behind the scenes. Because as we see with Blue Lock, as we see with Uzumaki, and as we're going to talk about with this next anime, Tower of God, it could ruin a good show.
Yes, exactly.
So let's talk about Tower of God for a second. Now, it hasn't been mentioned in detail as yet of what is the reason for the dip in quality, but the reality is that there's a new studio animating Tower of God Season 2. And the name of that studio is The Answer Studio. Now, sometimes we may hear of a studio and automatically believe that, well, it's not popular, it's not well known, so the animation will definitely be bad. But according to one person who shared his viewpoint, an animator who shared his viewpoint on Reddit, that is not necessarily the case. Because as you would see in his comments or statements, that it all comes down to those who are taking the lead in the production of this particular anime. So here's what he said on Reddit. First off, no, this isn't a budget issue. I'm generally surprised that this is a debate that budget equal animation quality. A lot of animes with vastly different animation quality have the same budget. It is 2024. I am generally surprised this is still a thing people need to learn about. Most of an anime's budget isn't even directed at the animation. If budget was equal to animation, literally every single big IP would have fantastic animation quality. Second of all, one of the most important things is what staff is working on an anime, what director, what producer. That is even more important than the studio itself. If a studio puts a bad director on a series, usually the series itself will look generally bad. When an anime is getting made by a new studio or a not as popular studio, it is not necessarily a bad thing if the staff in itself is good and they have a, notice the point, healthy production.
Correct!
It concludes, the reason why Tower of God Season 2 is suffering and will continue to suffer is because the director sucks and the production for Tower of God Season 2 was bad. Leakers like months ago have said this, and I remember making a post clearly about this and getting downvoted into oblivion. Them not having a lot of time to animate the season with a not experienced director equals a bad product. That's exactly what needs to happen. That is what the anime industry needs to evolve into, to have more healthier production, whether it means fair increases of wages for animators, whether it means focusing on the quality rather than just focusing on cutting costs to just focus on releasing an anime as quickly as possible because it's popular. Healthier production needs to happen in order for a good anime to not suffer. So tell me in the comments, do you agree to what we just talked about? Do you have some points that you would like to add to the conversation, or do you disagree with everything that we just talked about? Again, as I always say, the comment section is yours. But there's another video that I find also interesting. It talks about why animators, despite anime being so popular, your granny even know what anime is all about as well too. But why, even though anime is popular, why are animators still struggling to make ends meet? That is what is going to pop up on your screen. But again, In order for you to access that video, you have to click on that red, shiny, beautiful button, and it's called the subscribe button. So that's it. Go on.